Hi, I'm Brian Gowers. I'm a senior architect at Callison RTKL here in Seattle, and currently serving as a project manager for the firm on Macy's downtown Seattle re-tenanting project. It's an 8-story building, originally built in 1929 with a major addition in 1953, and we're converting parts of the store into office space. Partway through construction on an incredibly complex project, we were told that they would be using the lean process for scheduling all of their work and planning all of their work, and we were informed that we would have an opportunity to participate, and it has been a really incredible experience.
A lot of coordination and having to work within their space while we're trying to get rebar and demo work done, install the shotcrete, and get that work in place. And then second to that is the seismic steel that ties the rest of the structure into the shear walls. And a lot of that work is going on out on the sales floor. Again, 4 floors of open operating retail space that need to open for business every morning at 10 a.m. and are open till 9 p.m. And so a lot of coordination and trying to get the protection down on the sales floor each night when the store closes, get the work installed, and get it all cleaned up and ready for customers to start at 10 a.m. the following morning. So I contacted Kelly with Apex and asked if he'd be willing to work with myself and kind of lead that initiative. So he was, and what we did was we established kind of an initial weekly planning session strictly for each of those value streams. So we did one at 5 a.m. on Wednesdays and one at 5 a.m. on Thursdays ahead of when the work was supposed to start. We knew that right after the holiday, right after New Year's, we would be back out on the sales floor needing to install a significant portion of the seismic steel. So we got in ahead, identified what the constraints were, identified what some of the challenges were we had on the previous floors that we did prior to the holiday shutdown, and just really started the planning process on how do we mitigate those challenges so that when Kelly's crews show up at 9 o'clock at night, they can get the most out of the 10 hours that we had.
We were doing roughly 2 tubes a night. That was our install rate with about 25 guys. Started the lean process, started the 6-week look ahead, started all the trades, all the subcontractors kind of came together with Bailey in the lead of really dissecting everything. And not only did we pre-plan everything that we possibly could, then we started to detail with 6 stickies, post-its up on the wall, doing it day by day, so we were actually, each subcontractor was held accountable almost hour by hour. The result of that is we were able to place 14 tubes in a day.
Level 4 demo 10 line, south. Bid plate at 3 line north on level 4. And then bid plate on 4 line in and up. Shoot beams at level 8, that's done. Shear 1, level 8, edge 4.
I think no one person can know every aspect of construction or design, and so many times we find ourselves in that position where somebody is working in an isolated little bubble and trying to make decisions. For me as a designer and architect, I'm trying to draw solutions to physical real problems, and I don't have my full tool bag. I don't know all the parts and pieces. I don't know all the construction techniques. And to be able to get everybody in the room on a particular problem and say, here's my design intent, here's what I'd like to see, and to be able to have the fabricators there, not just the general contractor who's running the project, but to actually have the fabricators sitting there and telling us the physical parts and pieces they would use and the sequence of construction that they would use to get to this end solution. It helps tremendously when it comes time for me to document things and draw them. because I have this crystal clear image in my mind now of how we're going to solve this problem. And I don't go back and do endless research and try to seek out somebody else in the firm who maybe has experience with that. I know from the guy who's building it exactly what needs to happen, and it is such an amazing process to shorten the duration of what the normal cycle might be to get to a design solution.
I'm Manny Golez, an associate here at KPFF Consulting Engineers, structural engineer who's doing the Macy's re-tenanting and site. So there were a few times where basically the process that we took is I go down to the job site and we would walk these different areas that have become a little bit of a challenge. And so project manager with Bailey, with a contractor, would basically just show me, all right, this is kind of the condition that we're dealing with. How should we approach the issue? And the best thing about the experience is that the conversation is happening right there, and I can give feedback, and at the same time they can give me feedback, and at the end of this back and forth is an understanding of how we would solve that problem. And thereby, when I leave the construction site, then it's basically a confirming RFI that comes to me that says this is what we talked about at the job site, how does this sound, makes the whole process very efficient.
One of the hardest parts of a construction project from my side of the table is the RFI process. It can be very burdensome. It takes so much time to take in an RFI, read it, comprehend it, find a solution, document the solution, and send it back. It takes quite a while. We have in our contract standard, give us 10 days to solve these problems. And some of them we can answer pretty quickly, but if there's a lot of RFIs out there, it can take time to get to the easy ones. And so one of the great aspects of Lean is to be able to expedite and improve that process of communication through RFIs. Most recently, we were working on a guardrail issue. We've got an existing guardrail we need to modify, and we're trying to figure out what's the best solution. And there's probably a dozen different solutions we could have come up with. But we were able to sit there with Bailey Construction and their subcontractor, the fabricator who's doing the miscellaneous metals work, and we were able to talk about the various solutions, and they helped us very quickly zero in on a system and a solution to the problem, so that when they sent us the RFI, actually one of the other great things is they don't necessarily have to send us an RFI that we take in and process. They had their iPad there, and aside from using it to look into the drawing set using PlanGrid, we were able to actually process the RFI right in the field. So while we were talking about solutions, the PE was over there entering the solution in the RFI, and at the conclusion of the discussion turned the iPad towards us and said, does this answer read right to you? And in fact it did. It summarized exactly what our solution was, and they were able to hand it to me, and I could digitally sign it right there, and the RFI was done. It never had to come into my office for processing. It didn't sit in a pile and wait until I got the really hard ones done. It was just done and off my desk, and all I had to do was file it when I got back to the office.
We have instances where I go to the job site, and definitely I have the steel guys present as we are looking at an issue that's come up. And what I like to do is pick the tradesman's brain and find out, all right, we know that this is an issue. How do we deal with it? Or how do you prefer to deal with it? Because 9 times out of 10, they have great ideas on how to solve issues. To have them give me input on the best way to address some of these issues helps me, because then that way I don't go to a path that may not be beneficial to them. So I really do think that being out there, talking to all the people involved in the work that you're doing is a very efficient way of doing your work.
I think the really tremendous thing is pulling all the players into the room at the same time on big issues. Everybody has got a part to play in getting to a solution, and being able to have everybody there together and hearing the process firsthand, so they know that we didn't just grab the first solution out of the box, that this has really been discussed and thought through, helps them to know that there really are no other options. Every option has been addressed. And I would suspect that on the side of the client, when they're brand new to a subject and it just gets brought up to them and a new solution is laid out for them, here's how we can fix it, they may not be comfortable with it at first, because their mind is going to, is this the right solution? Is this the most cost-effective solution? Is it going to work best for us in a built condition? And instead of being isolated from the process, to be able to be integrated in the process and hear the research that's going on and to hear the discussion amongst all the professionals, they know right then and there that they've got a good solution, that it is the best solution available.